about Bolt. Now, this week, Bolt introduced the women driver only option, which is rather confusing to so many within the city. Is it that the allegations against Bolt drivers are too intimidating, or are the allegations true? Now, these drivers are too intimidating because we hear so many stories about them all the time, and it comes against the backdrop of the allegation made against a Bolt driver who abused a female passenger. And this is not the first case. Now, this we saw on social media. We saw both on Twitter and on Instagram. And this is something that I have seen someone very close to me personally go through, and it was so heartbreaking and so worrying, and for them to come out with this as their PR strategy and on a national platform, I don't want to call them out. It's just that, you know, she could have been, there's something really dire that could have happened to her. She could have been raped, she could have been kidnapped. The driver made away with my sister, Mato.
What? Because
it came to about 900 bob after their trip was after their trip came to an end, and then he said, you know, she can't pay. So on her end, she got 300 bob, and he said that trip should have come to around 800 to 900 bob. She had no problem paying more, but then this guy tried to kidnap her, tried to do a lot of other things to her, and I was like, what? And it took the watchies to stop the car because it was like, you know, it was just going all over the place on the road. But this is not the same thing that a lot of other people have. They don't have a national platform. They don't have a sister or a relative who can talk about it on such a huge platform as NTV. And the female drivers, do you feel like that's a slap on the wrist? Should you not take care of the drivers who have been accused of mistreating your customers? I don't know. Let me start with you, Mato.
For me, this story is too personal. It's too close home because, yes, I have been in opposition of social media influencers and content creators. Sometimes when you're engaging in content that has affected you personally, but you're going up against, for example, a company, watu wanaona, labda huyu amelipo. But no, for me, see, this came close home because my wife, while very heavily expectant on the ninth month, requested for a taxi. It came, a different number plate than the car that is on the app came. Akasema, I'm too tired, let's just go. Because they give excuses and stories. Once they are just about to reach the destination, the guy asks, how much is it showing? My wife says, shows this amount, which is not what that driver wanted. Says, this is a new car compared to the one that was actually supposed to come. So it's either you add money or I leave you here. So my wife, at night, 7:38 p.m., was left in the middle of the road with shopping, having come from a supermarket, left in the middle of the road, very heavily pregnant, and had to find her way home. This story is too close home. So when this story came, by the way, it just... But what do you suggest, Mato?
If the Bolt CEO is watching right now, what do you suggest, real quick?
There needs to be vetting of the drivers, because it is very clear that that is not happening. Because somebody even sent me a video where one of the drivers was saying they do not have strict measures that they implement when it comes to vetting the drivers. They do not do background checks. That is what was alleged in the video by that driver. So that is what needs to happen. And there needs to be follow through when people complain about such things.
Like Mato had said, this is way too close, you know, to home for him, so he could talk about this all hour long. Mariam, you have literally 5 seconds. What do you have to say about that story?
Literally 100% agree with Mato. Giving women only drivers is not a solution. Your issue is you don't vet drivers. Women drivers are also capable of assaulting their passengers. They're also capable of pulling these stunts. So that's not an issue. You've not fixed the problem. You've only put a plaster on it. I think there's so many ride-hailing apps in this country, in the world, but Bolt is the only one consistently called out for these issues. So it's a problem with the vetting of the drivers.
All right, so let me just say it right now. NTV and NMG is not responsible for the opinions that are expressed on our shows. Those are solely for the panelists who come on our shows and tell us what it is that they think about it. Thank you so much for joining in tonight. Thank you so much for tweeting. Thank you so much for engaging with us. We're back at 10 p.m. right here on NTV. My name is Amir.